forget it. And then Mary Liz, I'm going to make you your co-host right now.
Okay.
It's recording to the cloud. So I would recommend we make one more person a co-host just in case, because I'm going to leave after a few minutes once you're all settled and good to go. I'm going to leave and I may be back, but I'm going to leave to go make sure all the other ones are getting off okay. And I would make one other person co-host besides yourself so that if you were to get kicked off and have to get back on, the meeting would stay open and it would stay recording. So maybe Joy or Lori or Miss Glenda.
Yeah, you just tell me. And,
okay.
Who would like to be co-host?
Whose internet connection has not had any hiccups today? Let's try that.
Yeah, today.
Every day is different.
Yes.
You can put me on there. Mine's steady.
All right, Joy.
All right,
I'm gonna
Joy.
make you co-host.
Thank you.
And then Mary Liz.
My camera screwed up. For some reason, I'm blurry. I have no idea why that was.
All right, Mary Liz, I'm gonna make you host instead of just co-host.
Okay.
All right. So there you are.
Okay. Could we, as we begin here, it is 1 o'clock. Thank you all for joining us. And could you please, and I'll call your name because I find that works best. And you tell me what affiliate, what state you're from. So Lori, Lori, you're so smart. I almost had people do that, but I thought, oh, well, I'd rather hear the voices too. So Lori, tell us where you're from.
It's all good. I'm Lori Cortles. I'm from the Iowa affiliate, and I'm stepping in for Joy Rouse, who retired. And so we are filling this position this year with our nominations.
Very good. Well, thank you. Can anyone see my screen, or do I need to?
No, we can see it.
You can see it? What do you see?
Your Word document.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. If you're going to say sheep, I'd say wrong screen. Okay, so Joy, would you like to go next?
Yes, I'm Joy West. I'm with the Arkansas affiliate. I'm actually stepping in for Amy Muck, who will be taking over, but she was not able to attend today.
Okay. Andy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andy from Pennsylvania.
Is that a Nittany Lion in your background?
This is my buddy here, the Nittany Lion.
All right. Okay, and then Glenda.
Oregon.
Very good. How about Lorianne Anderson?
Hi, Laura Anderson. I am with Michigan, actually Michigan State University, so go green.
Thank you. Carrie?
I guess we can be friends.
Hey,
it was a great game.
Is one big happy family.
I don't see Ohio here, so we're good.
Okay, Carrie, where are you from?
I'm Carrie. I'm from Montana.
Welcome. And then Kirsten.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Kelly. I'm from Virginia.
Okay, well, again, thank you all for joining. I've pulled up just an outline, just a kind of a rough outline that I put together for this call, but I just really, in particular, instead of me going point by point, I would just like to hear suggestions, thoughts, and then I also have a couple of questions for you as the affiliate VP of Public Affairs. So, and I see we have Gretchen Manker. Gretchen, where are you from?
I am from Idaho, University of Idaho Extension.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so how do we want to do this? Do you want to take a couple minutes and look over the document, or you just want to jump in and tell me what does your state do with public affairs? I really want this to be your meeting, how we can best.
I would love to hear what your states do with public affairs, because I'm new to the role.
Okay.
And, kind of took that over in the middle of a pandemic. And I've honestly not done that much other than, make sure people saw the email for things like dining in day, and make sure you get your impact statements in for the annual report. I'm sure there's probably other things I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm looking forward to this, my first meeting today, and see what other things I could be doing.
Okay, thank you. All right, does someone want to jump in and fill Andy in? I absolutely understand, Andy, because I've been in this national office for a couple of years now, and nothing has been normal from pretty much day 2. So I absolutely feel your I don't want to say pain, but yeah, I'm with you.
And this is Lori. I echo Andy, and I think that those are the 2 things that I recall our board member typically doing as well. Really focusing on those impact statements, sharing about PILD and how to make sure someone was attending or was able to attend, and then the dine-in.
So a lot of the Living Well month, we try to do posts on that throughout the whole that whole month, trying to get that out to the public.
Did you use the videos, Joy? Did you appreciate that? It was kind of a different take this year.
Yes, we had the girl who was the individual. She did share all those, and they were fantastic. I loved them. They were great.
Well, I will pass that along to the committee because they really, I feel, knocked it out of the park with that one. So certainly. Okay, so maybe a more pointed question. And I know, again, we haven't had a normal year in a couple of years, but what did you all do with the impact statements this past year?
So I can speak for Michigan, and I kind of came into this position not really kind of knowing what to do, but I just put an email out to all of our folks that I have connection with to have them complete the template with the work that they've done. So that was our food safety, our parenting, any of our youth, children and youth, as well as some of our chronic disease programming and that kind of thing, and just had them complete the template, and then I turned them in. I mean, it's not real fancy, and there probably should be more, but I will share real quick that for the conference tomorrow, Jennifer Strauss is doing a whole session on being able to capture this information.
Yes, I'm signed up for that, and she was on our short list for a PILD keynote speaker as well this year, but we kind of passed her up simply because she was going to be talking to the NEAFCS. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. So I'll be teching for her. So if I screw it up, don't be too rude, mean to me.
Oh goodness, no. So that being said, what about what did you, without putting anyone on the spot, and that's certainly not what I want to do. What did you do once I got all the information and the editors then compiled it, and then we worked to get them into the finished product? Were you able to share those with our decision makers and legislators? And I know it was not done in the traditional manner, and I know that I struggled with my I'm from Illinois, and I struggled getting those impact statements into the hands of the folks who I felt needed them. And I just don't know, did anyone find a creative way to do that, since we weren't on the Hill and passing them out and making appointments with the staff of the legislators?
I can honestly say that I don't think that Iowa did. I don't think that we reached out to any legislators or senators.
I didn't either, but I was amazed because I was new to pulling all that information together and inputting it to you. And I was just amazed at how much work our state had done. And so the biggest thing I did was I retold, all of our FCS educators how amazing. I was just really amazed. And so I really actually enjoyed putting that all together. So I didn't actually get it out though. See, I forgot that step, but I re-put it back to my own people and really found it an interesting process.
I just contacted my president and, let her know that they were available as far as the links. And I'm not sure how she distributed them. I know she was our representative at PILD this year. And I'm not sure if we had anybody else go, but I think that's all I know about it. I didn't get any follow-up from her about it. We haven't really talked too much.
I will say that many more people were able to attend PILD because it was virtual. And many of them really, really enjoyed the sessions and the things that they learned from there. So, I mean, that was great, especially for me because I had been there face to face and then I was able to attend virtually. And I was really thankful for that opportunity.
Yeah, and so that's the upside to this compromised world that we've been living in. Yeah.
I think, Mary Liz, the fact that you got those links at least into the hands of all the NIFA program leaders and maybe beyond that, maybe all the researchers, that is really important. I mean, they're kind of research geeks and I'm pretty sure they're going to read them, and
Well,
find out what's going on in the field.
You hope so. I sent it to the two people that we have, and I wrote letters, and so I didn't just pass them on. But yeah, I hope they were able to share. But there's a part of me that even when we're in person, as whoever said that was it you, Gretchen, who said you were so impressed, you really didn't realize until you see it all right in front of you what your state has done. And so then you take that one step further and you look at those impact statements in their final form and you're like, wow, this is what a tremendous body of work across the United States. And they're well written, they're well done, they're eye-catching. We check all the boxes of, is there enough white space? We have quotes, we have pictures. I think what we're doing a very good job of it. But my question is, are enough people reading them? And Glenn and I've talked about this for years. You give it to the staff person, and a huge eye opener for me was during PILD, and I don't remember if it was this year or last year, but and it was, I think she was on a panel, and correct me, I'm not going to get any of the details right, except the gist of her message was, remember who you're speaking with. So when we're trying to contact the legislators and their aides, she said, for example, there was something about mortgages. And she said, I was in a legislative aid meeting. Yeah, she used to be a legislative aide. She was in a legislative aid meeting, and she said the topic came up. It was a bill, something about mortgages. And she said, I looked around the table and I knew for a fact I was the only person at that table who had a mortgage or really knew anything about a mortgage. And so we have to think about who we're talking to. Most of these legislative aides are very young and they don't have the life experience that many of us have. And I just thought that was interesting. Now, what I want to do with that information, I don't know, but that was certainly an aha moment for me, in that our little worlds are not the worlds of the folks who we're giving these impact statements to. Does that make sense?
Well, that's one way to interpret that. I mean, looking out. So my one of my cousins was a legislative aide for one of the senators in Vermont. And he took us into the office when we went to visit, and you know, when the senator was out, and we got the complete tour of the whole place. And it was really pressed upon me that these are the people that take a lot of responsibility, because they're the ones that are telling the senator how to vote on the way out the door. Okay.
Right,
To the
right.
camera.
Yeah.
So they are dedicated to serving the people of their communities, their states, their regions. And many of them are lifers, you know, that's what they want to do, you know, and they may go from one office to another office. They, you know, they're not just somebody that just comes, you know, from the, you know, the representatives
Right.
hometown
First time college job. Yeah.
knew his dad that went to college, they went to college together. You know, it's not that kind of good old boy kind of network. I mean, these are dedicated public servants. They do want to know deeply, you know, and broadly, you know, what their constituents want and need. And any stories that they can pull together are things that, you know, they can feed to their elected official. And, you know, as part of, you know, the speaking topics they might need, you know, or talking points that they need, articles that need to be written, whatever, but they love getting stuff that comes from the field, you know, with real life application for some of the things, especially for some of the things that they've helped fund, you know, and gone to bat for. So just because they look young doesn't mean they're not powerful. And the alternative is that we ignore them, don't give them anything, and then they really don't have any information from us. Mm-hmm. So at least they have an opportunity to look at it. They don't like piles of paper, this right. generation. They like things to come to them electronically, but I'll tell you, those things are incredible props when you go into a meeting, because they are really fabulous. I love the way that they've been redesigned. We have a really nice new look.
Yeah, Danielle did that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very contemporary, you know, so we don't, it's good to have the same colors, you know, to thread things together from year to year, and, you know, to have those kinds of things. And then because we do make annual visits to the Hill, they know we're coming. I mean, I can remember, I think I went 4 different times, and every single time the Alzheimer's people were there with their purple sashes on, you know, so apparently, you know, certain days of the year are you know, traditional days for groups to show up and do their advocacy work or lobby, you know, and so we don't lobby, we advocate. Okay.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So don't be disheartened. I think that the fact that we are able to pull this together when no other extension program does is pretty phenomenal. And I know each of the years that I was there, there was always this question of, how do you guys manage to do this? This is really fantastic. And we do need to share what we're doing. We need to probably get more reminders about different opportunities and maybe creative ways. I had never thought about getting them into the hands of our legislative what do you call it? I don't want to say aid anymore. Let's see, our extension legislative person, you know, whoever does that work. And they change pretty frequently. And so it's, if you had a relationship with one, if at all, then you might have a new one from time to time. But that might be something we need to train people on, is to find out who your legislative contact is, and have a couple of meetings with that person so they know that they have these resources. They become familiar with what we're doing. I don't think we've ever oriented that person in our university. And that might be a good thing for us to consider for the future.
Yeah, and I don't even remember what my person's title is, but he was easy to contact. And in fact, he was trying to organize all the Illinois folks from the different disciplines who were involved with PILD. So
yeah, governmental relations, I think
that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and they used to go to PILD earlier, they used to go to PILD with our group that went from Oregon. And at one point it was just limited to 5 people. And then they figured that 10 was a lot better because they can make all those changing appointment times, that occur, and you just have 2 groups that can adjust and maybe cover every visit that's available rather than trying to sprint to, each of the meetings. And I think Wisconsin used to have like 30 people go.
Oh yeah, it was big. Yeah.
I'm not sure if they still keep that up or not, but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
it's kind of limited in most states with the number of people that are allowed to go. They keep it pretty tight rein on, in Oregon, they keep a pretty tight rein on who can go. I don't know what they did for this year with I really don't know what the process was. So we didn't have a kind of a regular meeting with our affiliate to figure out what was going on with that stuff. But it's a powerful tool, it's part of the whole concept of get the message out 10 different times, 10 different ways. If you rely on only one way to get the word out, people are it's just gonna whiz right, in one area and out the other. But and this is a marketing mantra. I took marketing in college. Madison Avenue thread, is you got to get that message out, a lot of different ways. And getting other people to talk about you is probably the most effective way to get to have an impact, so
yeah, so send those pictures and the quotes.
If you see a new toothpaste commercial and then you go and talk about it to a friend and say, oh yeah, I always buy this brand, and say, oh yeah, well, maybe I'll try that one too, so they trust their, their neighbors and stuff. Our legislative aides, that is a really interesting club, even though they work for a wide, diverse population of people. They get together on their own. And I can imagine that they might have some bragging things going on from state to state, that, hey, my state got mentioned in such and such a topic, maybe that's their pet project, or something that's near and dear to their hearts for whatever reason. But I can see them talking about this stuff, so it is impressive. Not everybody does it, and the fact that we now have a lot more numbers with dollar signs and percent signs next to them, valid research is really incredible, instead of just participant numbers. That is not anything that anybody needs. It's one of the components of the things they need, but they need to have those actual research dollars for quantitative and qualitative stories, that are pretty powerful, so those, I think that we are doing better and better every year.
Yes, we are
thrilled this year to see how many, in the past as an editor, I would clump together states that had just participant numbers, and just say, hey, as a total number here, these, states contributed to it. And now it's getting to be more challenging to be editing because I want to feature the ones that have got really important, powerful numbers for us to be able to share with these people that can actually use those numbers.
My favorite, and it's really not data, but my favorite quote from the last couple of years is, it was a reading program for preschool children. I can't even tell you what state it was. But this mother said, oh my gosh, instead of buying him toys now, I take him to the library because I had no idea he liked books, and so just like, wow, that just changed her whole life. And that what a nice little nugget that was, that Extension had influenced that mom in that way. And those little nuggets, and like behavior change and all those things that we're really striving to document. But yeah, Andy, did you say something a minute ago?
I was saying that I just looked at the dates for this for next year, and it's the same dates as our extension conference.
Oh no.
Which is unfortunate.
The dates for NEAFCS
PILD.
or PILD?
PILD.
Oh shoot. Gosh dang it.
We should have them move the conference.
Yeah.
No, I do know that figuring out Tild and getting the slots, because you know you have only so many days when those legislators are in session, and like Glenda said, we have to take our turn because the Alzheimer's Association has this and the teachers lobby has that, and yeah, so
Plus votes
well,
come up on the floor. They might just dash out of the room when you're there.
right,
you know,
right,
so.
exactly. Okay, so again, thank you for being the cheerleader, the person who is bugging people for that, for those impact stories, and thank you for submitting them. We
So,
appreciate that.
Mary Liz, this is
Yes.
Suzanne.
Hey,
Gleason
Suzanne.
from Minnesota. So we don't really share those impact statements with our legislatures. We take what's been submitted and create our own because they want to know the Minnesota story. But what we have done is use those for grant writing and for, you know, other program ideas and initiatives. So, I mean, they're really helpful for that because there's a lot of impact and support. And then we end up contacting, you know, someone from that state about that program. So anyway, there's those spinoffs too, I think, that we don't think about.
Right, the many layers. Yeah,
Right.
that's interesting. And we, in one of our phone calls last year, we talked about having more of a blank template that people could then customize for their own state. And gosh dang it, I don't remember whether it was Arkansas or Colorado. One of the two had done that regularly. And it was nice that you could have, you know, kind of a fillable space. You could put a maybe the at somewhere, either the beginning or somewhere, put some of the national numbers impact, and then tailor it more towards your state. And so yeah, this should be a usable document and kind of a living, breathing thing that you can use to your own advantage. But then also, you know, the primary reason it's created is for that national impact, that, oh my goodness, wow. As Glenda said, not very many, in fact, we might be the only association of all the disciplines that compiles our information in this way to make it look so impressive. So yeah, it's always interesting to see people can, you know, use them however works for your area. So I'm looking at our
Mary Liz, before you move to a next topic, I want to kind of go back and help Andy with his question about what am I supposed to do? I was trying to remember, what did I do when we were not doing COVID?
Right.
Virtual stuff. When we had our last in-person extension conference, it happened to be on dining in day. And with our extension retiree barbecue. And so I contacted our extension director and asked if he would declare it dining in day. So I'll read a declaration, you know, and then I think there was some kind of dining in document. And so I printed off a bunch of those, tied a ribbon around them and made them part of the decorations.
Cute.
And we celebrated dining in day together, you know, trying to acknowledge that, eating healthy, you know, and complimented the cooks, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that was fun. So that happened 2 years in a row with these December meetings that we've been having. Then I've been an editor for the impact reports. I didn't know I loved editing until I started doing that. And if you haven't done this before, you might want to try it out if we have any openings. People tend to want to keep doing it from year to year.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And
but I think we are going to have a couple openings this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Glenda's correct in that. And man, the good old days, Glenda, when people would send us volumes, and we would have to funnel it down. And now with the submission of 40 words, it makes our job easier. No less interesting though.
Yeah, so that share your story template is something that we put together. And so then at our December meeting, that we have with our extension conference, then we have our affiliate meeting during that agenda or during that schedule. And one of the things we do is train and support, brainstorm who's doing awards, and what projects should be submitted, and try and spread ourselves out so we're not competing against each other, and have those discussions. And then we also try and get them to be thinking on the same lines about what kind of impact reports are you going to submit, and then hand out the share your story template and just kind of walk through it. It's surprisingly difficult to be concise, and so then people have been sending them to me, and then I rewrite them for them. But then I train them how to do it. So then the next year they can just submit them straight into the system for me instead of me having to submit them. But and then also getting better pictures, talking to them about better pictures, and wearing, something that identifies you with your university or extension program. So those are some things that have been, I guess, at the forefront of what I do. I really enjoyed the Living Well stuff last year. The Living Well month calendar was so much fun to have. Just, I printed it off and put it right next to my computer and would share that in meetings. Each time I had, each of those days that I had a meeting, well, this is what we're doing today, so it was really great. I really liked having that. And then I also wanted to share that the videos, I was engaged with a community center that had lost its certification, was trying to get recertified and get going again. And they were talking about people just don't understand what wellness is. And I said, hey, I think I know some great videos. So I sent all those to them. And,
oh, good. Yeah.
So that was a fun thing to do, just spur of the moment. But other than that, I haven't thought much further along on that one. And then one other thing I've done this year is we got, after Keisha Falk put together that 4 questions worth millions at our session last year, I contacted her and I said, hey, I'd like to be part of this. And so we were part of the pilot this past year for generating data on the value of what the people the participants actually feel that they got out of the program. So we know we frequently save people's lives, but we hesitate to say, put a value on a person's life, about what our programs do. But now that we have data that shows what the participants say is what they value us for, I think we're going to have some really exciting impact reports this year.
So what are those 4 questions? I missed that presentation.
Oh, I'm still in my home office. I've moved it 3 times. I don't know where it is right now.
Okay. Well, just if you think of it, send it.
I'll look. I think I might know where it is, but I don't want to do it right this minute. I will look while we're still on, and then I'll come back to you. Okay.
Okay. All right. So, gosh, that's all good and interesting stuff. So, another thing that I wanted to call to your attention is that on the committee calls today, and I wasn't expecting enormous attendance, but our attendance on the committee calls were very light. And in fact, a couple of the committees we need chairs and chairs elect, and there were some folks who even agreed to stay on for another year because of the low attendance. And I know everyone's busy, and just it might have slipped someone's mind, but just kind of keep that in mind as we move forward after this conference. When it comes time to renew your membership and then sign up for committees, you might want to encourage your members to really take a look at the public affairs committees, because all committees are important. I'm not saying that anyone is not. I'm just partial to the public affairs because I've invested some time here, but just have them take a look if you would, please. I'm looking over this Word document to see. We had a really good discussion this morning with the marketing committee. And again, there were only 3 people at the committee, but just the whole notion of marketing and communication. For years, that committee has been all about the branded items for sale at conference. Well, we're going on our 2nd year now of not being together and able to visit that booth and purchase those mugs and keychains and pins and what have you. And so they were just talking about, well, then what is the relevance of that committee moving forward? And just, I won't give you a lot of the background information about logistically getting the items to the conference. Has always been cumbersome anyway. Their thought is, well, why aren't we more true marketing and communication of really the mission of NEAFCS in general? And I thought that was really interesting and exciting. And I'm looking forward to see what that committee does here in the next year or so. So if you have some creative folks in your affiliate, you might want to consider and encourage them to join that committee, because I think it's going to kind of reinvent itself and move forward and be truly more in that marketing realm. Any other questions, comments?
Okay, I'd have some. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, so I found the paper survey.
Oh,
and
good.
So you obviously put the program name in and the date and those kinds of things. And you can pre-fill those parts out, and then which of the following best describes the topic of the program. So it fits under either family, food, health, home, or money. At this point, they may change that. And then please rate your knowledge level regarding the information presented before the program and after the program.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little, no knowledge to extremely knowledgeable. 5-point, I guess, Likert scale, is that what that's called, or Likert?
Yeah.
And then please indicate your intention to use any of the information presented in today's program. I will definitely use, I will probably use, I have not decided, I probably will not, I definitely will not. And then please indicate how you feel by marking the appropriate circle. This one I thought was pretty genius. As a result of this program, I feel better or worse, more healthy or less healthy, more stable or less stable, less stress, more in control or less in control. And so that measures a degree of wellness and how they feel. And then the last one that's, just kind of easy tick off the box is, what amount of money do you believe you, your family, and or the business or community you represent will save or gain from this type of information in the next month? And so they give them some boxes to check here, so that we have ranges. So either 0, $1 to $9, $10 to $49, $50 to $99, $100 to $149, $150 to $199, or $200 or more, with a box to please specify the amount. And then we have 2 open-ended, very short answers. And so we're past the main 4 questions here to just collect some quotes from them. What was the most beneficial part of the program? Write your answer below. And then how would you summarize your experience in the program in 1 sentence?
Good. Illinois has been trying to kind of boil down and make our survey so that we can gather more info. I really like that measure of wellness, because that would really kind of sell well in our impact statements. I can see that kind of feeling, but also then giving it a dollar amount too.
So I have an infographic to share that's kind of based on it to show you what it can look like.
Can I make you a co-host? Let me see.
I'll let you.
Let me see if I can. Yes. All right. Okay, that should have worked. So see if you can share that now.
This will stop other screen sharing. Do you want
That's
to
okay.
continue? Is
That's
that
okay.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, do you see anything?
I think we will. There. Oh, nice. Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
You know, and we have, I don't know if any of you have used them, but we've had a couple of committee members who have worked hard to make some of our impact statements into infographics, and that's really nice. Gives you info at a glance, but I really, really like this. Glenda, can you email that to me, please?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that, but I think I
Okay.
snagged this off of their slide presentation, and it
Okay.
wasn't something that I said
Okay.
I wouldn't share yet. Okay.
Okay.
But I love this high sense of wellness,
Mm-hmm.
and there's values there, you
Yeah.
know, that we can show here as a result of this program. And then the things that were the highest ones, which looks like 4 of them
Less
here.
stress, more stable.
Mhm.
Right. That is
Okay.
very nice.
And then they have a
And it's also
calculator
some of
that-
those buzzwords that are really popular. You know, anytime you can work the word wellness into a sentence, you get people's attention.
Yes, so.
Wow, 93%.
And then here's this definitely or probably will
Yeah.
use the information after the program. And then here's a before and after, you know, before the program is only 20% felt extremely knowledgeable or very knowledgeable. With after, and then the thing that this does is that all of those little teeny tiny programs that we do can all be valued.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
instead of
Yeah,
us having to go
exactly.
to IRB for some little program, you know, that we might do, or, you know, that we only do, it's infrequent, you know. So I've been doing these on my Zoom sessions at the end of the Zoom session, and they
Do you
recommend that
email
you
it to them, or do you
put it
link
in
it
the chat.
directly into? Okay.
Putting it in the chat. A lot of people like to do it right then.
Mhm.
And, you know, at the end of the session, and then the next day I'll build a contacts list out of participants that actually showed up, you know, from the ones that registered, and then send it out to them again so that they can do that. So the initial ones, I've only seen data on the stuff from the first half of the year. They have been just sending it out quarterly, and I haven't seen the third quarter yet. I don't know what happened there. I know people get busy, but you know, it's interesting to, you know, see this, and I'm excited to cluster this together. So it's going to be.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't
and
have.
You get a Excel spreadsheet with the data, so that you can, because your whole state's clumped together, and then you can separate out the different agents' work. And the way you have to do that is by titling your programs, at least right now.
Yeah. So
with
you use
somebody's
pairs
initials.
too, right? You use pairs?
I don't use pairs because I'm not in SNAP-Ed.
Oh, interesting. Because all of Illinois uses pairs, and so we've been trained with the nomenclature to title things. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Then
Okay.
I just wanted to point out here that we've got this out to a year here, as far as per month here. Okay. But they've got a calculator that they've got that can extrapolate this larger impact.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we know that we're doing good work, and you know, I just get so tired of us saying, and we're almost using it as a crutch, that we're the best kept secret. And I just soon forget that. What I really liked, and I heard this at a Pell Planning Committee meeting earlier this year, was that we are public intellectuals. And so we're out there doing the work, and like Glenda says, saving people's lives and making people's lives better, and improving the wellness of our country. And so how best can we get that story out there, that word about the work that we do? And right now we have the impact statements, and I think that as we've said, they just keep getting better and better. And then it's up to all of us to make sure that then that information is shared. And I know you said, many of you have said you tailor it, or you don't use the NEAFCS ones so much with your legislators because they want to know what your particular state is doing. But for those legislators who are on the Hill in Washington, D.C., I think it is important that they see that we across the United States are working towards these goals. And part of that, as Andy said, the land grant university family, even though we're fierce rivals on the football field or basketball, that we do all work together towards this common goal. And I think that's the message that we need to get out there, that there's no one else who does what we do. And in the manner that we do it, and for the dollars invested in our programs. I mean, you look at the dollar invested for the dollar return. I mean, that could be another column there on Glenda's infographic. It would be a tremendous spread because we're pretty cheap as far as comparing us to a governmental program of some sort. So that's kind of the message that we need to get out there as well.
I have an exciting bit of feedback from a community partner, the gal that's in charge of our Oregon Emergency Management program at the state of Oregon. Was doing a marketing campaign for Shakeout and then a Camp In, and she was doing some kind of fun little modules that, or she was putting together some modules for promotion throughout the year and stuff. And when they got to the food, she says, and Glenda, we're relying on Oregon State for all of our food preservation information. We're not going to develop anything new.
Hooray. Yes.
So
acknowledge that, by golly, yes, that is one thing we do. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I'm just now seeing the chat. I am so sorry. The way my screen was, could I make the document a little bit bigger? Shoot, I'm so sorry. I tell you what, I'm going to type up the notes and then I will send them out via the member clicks, because you should all be in there as public affairs.
So all of you guys that are new, I saw a few notes about what's important. The important thing is to get us some share your story information for the impact reports. And it's due by February 1st, but the earlier the better. Get us really good quality pictures. Please, try to find pictures. If you haven't got them this year, try to find pictures where people are at least wearing something that says what university you're from, which extension program. We want to see a lot better visual marketing, and those connections. We want to be able to tell who the client is and who the expert is. So, which is good. Those have been improving a little bit, but not as fast as I would like to see happen. And now that everybody's got these new iPhones, 6 or better, you've got really good quality cameras. And if you haven't had a little photography class or some lessons from somebody that tells you how to compose a photo, that would be a good thing to do.
And make sure you have those photo releases.
Yes, we don't need the photo releases. You just have to be able to back them up, okay, for us. Keep them on file.
Yeah, we don't send them to us. We just have them. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have a photo release, don't send it to us. We're going to just assume that you have permission to share. Okay. But try, look at the different categories and see if you can get as many as you can. So I finally got my folks up to, I think 6, maybe 7 this last time. So was real exciting to have that many submissions. And it looks like we're getting enough submissions too, that in the past, we used to try and get every state have at least one project represented in each of the areas that they submitted in. But I noticed that we didn't have everything get submitted or entered this year, but you know, some of them were weaker projects, you know, but the ones that were strong made it in, which was great. I was very pleased about that.
Yeah, it's sort of a good news, bad news is that we're getting so many submissions now that we can't publish everything. Sometimes the categories, sorry, there's a fly in my office. Sometimes some of the categories are overrun with submissions, and then others were kind of begging for more info. So take a look at those categories and go to the website and take a look at those categories and think about what your state does. How could it fit in? And some of them are vague enough that they could take a few more things, or some of the more popular ones, maybe your program could in fact fit in another area. So I think so quite often we have that blanket nutrition category, which is so broad. And then we have something like improving children's lives, which, you know, historically has been, you know, more of a child care, child safety issue. But, you know, there's nothing to be said we couldn't spotlight a more nutrition oriented program in that category. So we can move things around a little bit, but if you would please take a look at those categories and think about how your state addresses those issues. And I bet that you can come up with some really rich stories to tell. Now, that being said, there is no expectation that every state submits something in every category. So just, you know, send us your very best work. I know we've had some in the past that have just been, like Glenda said, you know, just a little small program. And back when we were really begging for information, that was great. But we really we want your best work, your most impactful work to highlight to those decision makers. So
can I piggyback onto that?
Sure.
So for your SNAP Ed programs, you know, they've got their day on the Hill, okay? And so we don't need the grand total for the SNAP Ed program or for the FNAP program. We don't need the grand total. What we really would like to have, and especially in that preventing childhood obesity impact statement, is that's a really good place for your kids programs to, you know, those individual creative things to really shine. And you know, we have some kind of grow it thing that Oregon's been doing, you know, with seeds and stuff, that they have a class on the internet and mail the seeds to them, you know. So, you know, those kinds of things that you do that are innovative and can be different from state to state or even from region to region in some cases. But that's the place where we want those youth programs to really be showcased with the innovative stuff that comes up. If it's an entire, you know, family type program, you know, adults, family and youth project, you know, then the best place to put that is in the nutrition and foods and nutrition section. And then the community projects is a good place to put the ones that have the physical activity and the family stuff together, okay? Whereas physical activity and nutrition can go in preventing childhood obesity. So if we can kind of separate things out that way, it gives you 3 different places to showcase your state.
Yes, and if you will take that initiative and do that sorting before you send it to us, because, you know, sometimes we're just, I mean, everybody's busy. I shouldn't say that, but it would be easier if you would self-sort before you send it to us so that we're not making that decision. Oh, you know, I think this would be better in another category. But that being said, we're coming up on 5 minutes before we've kept you for an hour, and everybody's time is valuable. I want to honor that. And as I said, we did record this, but I will also type up the notes that I took and we will send these out via the member clicks.
Mhm. When is the
officers
portal
with-
open? Is the portal open this month or next month?
For the submissions.
Mhm.
I believe it's next month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it starts in December.
I have one gal that sends them to me in September.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's really gung ho, you know.
That's so non-extension. We're all about, the 11th hour. Wait, I've got till 11:59 to turn this in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, February 1st is the due date.
Mhm.
Cheryl submitted that. Thank you, Cheryl, for doing that. And it's good because everybody's kind of thinking of end of the year reports at that time, unless you do your fiscal year or what have you. But still, it's nice to kind of sum it all up there.
Yeah.
And so this is from Christy. Asked my
Yeah, it
agents to
is.
submit through Qualtrics, and it worked really well. Yes. Yeah, very good. As I said, we use pairs in Illinois, and at first it was really hard to bring the data together, but now we're getting a wee bit better at that. So yeah, however your state does it, if you can gather those numbers and that.
And it doesn't have to
That's
be
what we
this
need.
year's project. It can be the last 3 years.
Yeah, it just
So
says
you can,
recent.
there's no reason why you can't just do it, this week, next
That's
week,
true too. That's true
if
too.
you
Yeah, whenever you have some
a few
downtime.
moments, just start generating that stuff. But
Yeah.
and if you can have an orientation with people and just let them know that any facts that are in the upper part of
Well-
that, like the number of participants doesn't have to be repeated in the 40 words. You don't have to repeat
Right.
the name of the project,
Exactly.
so.
And if you would like, we have the webinar that we gave last year
Mhm.
about impact statements, and it is in our archives. So take a look at that, and of course, contact Glenda's probably our most experienced editor, and I'll be around until I pass the torch to the next person. But I'm absolutely always available for questions. So I want to let you go. Oh yes, Suzanne.
Could I just ask a quick question? I know in our state, this discussion about who can submit impact statements, and I've brought it to this group before, but in our state, our board felt it was important that only members could submit impact statements. And I know other states, whoever, it's more of a broader university. So anyway, that's just how, so we're not getting the whole picture of all of our programs. We're only getting our member programs, and we have a small membership of 16. So anyway.
Shoot. Yeah,
Yeah.
because really, our organization is the vehicle that shares the information, but we are representing our entire extension network. That's unfortunate that is.
Yeah, the board felt strongly that that's a member benefit, that you can have your impact shared. So
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Well, shoot. Anyway, I want to let you all go. Please feel free to reach out, and thank you for the work you've done and the work that you will do. We so appreciate these leadership roles that people undertake, because as we've said before, we're all super busy and we're being asked to do more and more all the time. So thanks for carving out some time with us this afternoon, and enjoy the rest of your conference.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Mary Liz, thanks so much for
Thank you.
serving in these extraordinary circumstances as our National VP for Public Affairs.
It's been really interesting.
I hope you get to go to PILD in person someday.
I do too. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.